Hey, before I start talking about drawing, I just want to say thank you for all the kind words and support that I've received about this new channel that I started. It's super motivating and I really appreciate it. The past few days I've been continuing to study from this Leyendecker book that I had mentioned in my last video, and I was really attracted to this one illustration that a Leyendecker had painted for Arrow Collar. And in it you can see it's an elegant scene here of a couple descending a staircase, and I just love the lighting and the overall design that he masterfully created here. And in the book there's another spread with a few more illustrations that he had done for Arrow Collar, and they're all a similar theme of a very formal setting. You can see just how gorgeous the lighting and design of the illustrations are. That's another reason why I just love studying from this book here. Here's the drawing that I have done. It's using the same Canson paper and the same mechanical pencil and the black wing that I really like. And with this drawing, I wanted to emphasize like a circular composition. So of course I wanted you to focus on the head, which is the most rendered, but also secondly the gloved hand down here. And I wanted the eye to go from the head down, passing through this dark valued cast shadow to the glove, and then having that tension going back and forth between the head and the glove there. So that's kind of what I was thinking along the whole process. Well, I hope you enjoy the time lapse of the drawing and some of the commentary. And if you do like it, you can always subscribe below so you'll be notified for when my next drawing and other art-related material comes out. At the start of the drawing, I want to make sure that I leave enough room for the dress design and the other area of interest, which is her hand down below. So to do that, I'll indicate where the top of her head is and the pit of her neck, and then use that as a measurement, kind of as a unit, to then measure down visually to roughly where her hand is going to be, and then I'll check that to the general width of the widest point of her dress design. I'll indicate the top and the bottom of the head, and then I like to indicate the gesture of the figure, so I'll put the pit of the neck and then the shoulder line too. And I want to emphasize her elegant pose with her shoulder up. So then I'll work on breaking the head down into 3 parts: forehead to the middle of the eyes, down to the bottom of the nose, and then the chin. And then I'll also construct the head using 4 primary lines. One of them runs down the middle of the head, making sure to go through the root and the base of the nose. Then another one will go under the nose and hit the bottom of the ear. And I'm making sure to think of the head as a cube looking from below, looking up at it. So that helps kind of set the foundation to draw the head from that viewpoint. Another line from the outside of the cheek down to the chin, and then another one from the top of the brow line running to the top of the ears. And then just thinking about the position of the head and just like tilt to it. So once I have that, then I'll work on measuring the features, kind of just using straight lines again to keep it simple. So thinking of how the eyes are set back, and also the general size of the nose and the lips, the length and the width of it. But I'm keeping it kind of general while I hone into it. It wasn't until about this stage that I was happy with the measurements of all the features. So then I kind of switched to thinking about values and the shapes of the shadows that I wanted to lay out. And in particular, I really liked the focus of the play of the shadows on her left eye. So I wanted to pay attention to that cast shadow there caused by her nose intercepting the light, and also the shape of the shadows and the hard edge to it. I made a note to kind of render that out the most, because I think that's has a lot of interest to it. I'll think about the light source, of course, which I think is in the scene. It's coming from the bottom right, and that'll help me just pay attention to how the shadows are casted and how they move across the form. So for the eyes, I'm thinking of them as spheres and how there will be a soft edged core shadow, and the value will be dark there to indicate the roundness of the form. In this part, I was using that chiseled blackring pencil, which I love to use for dark passages. If there's going to be just a solid dark value in the background, then I like to just play around and alternate the pencil markings. I think that adds variety and kind of as a foil and plays against the more rendered areas. That's what I like to do with oil painting, kind of using a wash of turpentine, so it gives you some variety in the brush markings, and I think that holds true for using a pencil with a broad mark. So once I have that dark value, it sets behind the head to kind of act as a backdrop, and it determines what the darkest dark is going to be. When I know there's going to be a dark area, like her eyebrows or her eyelids in a shadow, I'll really get in there with the pencil and just make those dark accents. Just really push the lead into the page. That way it'll kind of make the head pop and give it a lot of form. So once I'm happy with how the head's turning out, I want to work on that secondary area of interest, which is the hand. And I just kind of laid it out roughly with straight lines, and then think about just the gesture. I really want to capture how her hand is designed and her open fingers like Leyendecker created. I love looking through Sargent's and Zorn's paintings, among others, and seeing how they really thought about the design of the hand. I love seeing just the shapes of shadow between open fingers and how they chose to just group two fingers together into one solid shape and really use shadows to carve it out of the canvas. It's just a lot of fun. I love doing hand studies and just seeing how to design it, and it's just a good exercise. I'm thinking about that design of having kind of the eye go down the page that I was talking about before, using that cast shadow of her arm, and using a dark value and a hard edge to kind of lead the eye down to the hand, and also thinking of a gradient within that shadow. So starting at kind of a dark hard edge, and then kind of lighting it up and softening the edge there towards the hand. I want to make sure to kind of really make a dark value between the shadows of the fingers to add emphasis there and compete a little bit with the rendering of the head. And then for the rest of her, like her fur coat, I want that to be subordinated to the rest of the drawing. So I'll just suggest it and not increase the value as much as the two other parts of the drawing there. For her shoulder, I'm just thinking of the form, kind of like of a cylinder, and how there's that core shadow, and as it moves away to the light, as it moves away from the light and towards the cast shadow, there's a little bit of bounced reflected light in there. And I'll just think about that while I'm making my marks contoured with the form. That's another thing I like to do, is when I make a pencil mark, to contour it with the direction of the form there. So I'm kind of thinking about that when I do her, like her satin dress. It's a different material, and I'll try to just work with the shapes, kind of going the cross contour. That's a little bit that goes into these drawings that I've been doing. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and you can always check back later for my new updates. I've been doing these about once a week, and I hope to continue that. And in shortly here, I will introduce some color too. Alright, thanks for watching. Take care.